Cheyenne Boyd describes the final moment she shared with her friend London Powers. They met freshman year at North Carolina Central University.
And she was just so happy to finally be moving out, getting her own place. The apartment she lived at with her ex-boyfriend, she would never deal with no man like that again. She said she knows the signs to look for, and she would just leave if a man ever came to her acting like that ever again.
In Durham, North Carolina, one young lady was preparing to head back to her HBCU in the coming week for her senior year of classes of 2025-2026 school year. The new school year at North Carolina Central University was set to kick off for most on August 18th, and 20-year-old London Powers was ready for all the great things that the year would offer. Always working hard to obtain her goals, as an honor student, she was determined to be the best version of herself while succeeding academically. Before jumping into the school year, London was also preparing for another major change in her life, moving into her own place. However, before she had the chance to get out, her estranged ex, with whom she lived with at Camden Point Apartments, allegedly decided to make a fatal decision. A native of Washington, D.C., 20-year-old London Powers was one of 6 of her mother's children and the middle girl in the family. Coming up, she was raised solely by her mother, with her father appearing to be absent from the picture. Despite that, she was a loving child, and from the very beginning, she excelled academically in school. By the time she was in 5th grade, she was already reading on an 8th grade level, and according to her mother, she was an avid reader just like her. Besides being book smart, she was a great child all the way around, and her mother said that she was every parent's dream child as a teen. Raised in the heart of the nation's capital, she attended Paul Laurence Dunbar Senior High School, which is located less than 2 miles from the White House. The school is also America's first public high school for black students in the nation, and it was established in 1870. There, she continued to be a rising star and even finished her classes a semester early, earning her diploma on January 26, 2025. However, this was only the beginning for London, and in the fall, she moved away from the only home she ever knew to Durham, North Carolina. This is where she would open the door to college life at NCCU and begin her journey of new life adventures. Also at the same time, there was another young person from the DC area that ended up in North Carolina, and the two would eventually cross paths. Going back a few years before London graduated high school, there was a high school football player in the DC area at Richard Wright Public Charter School who was said to be making noise on the field. Damien Tinsley had become a success story for many who knew him back in the day as a younger boy, and appeared to have turned his life around for the better as a teen. In fact, Damien was doing so well that he got accepted into a college for his football skills. After graduating high school in the spring of 2021, that fall, he started college at St. Augustine University in Raleigh, North Carolina. Coming in as a freshman, he was a 296-pound defensive tackle standing at 6'2" and ready to dominate the field. Day, as many called Damien, was a person who beat the odds and made it out, and one person that was very proud of him was Stan Richards of the Richards Group Foundation. The foundation was set up many years ago to empower youth to dream big and live a life of purpose. While back at home for the winter break in December 2021, Damien ran into Stan, and he said this, #proud moment. Damien Tinsley is a mentee from the Richards Group Foundation, Project 1335. We had lunch today to catch up after 7 years. I remember him being the little chubby kid selling a lot of wolf tickets. Today, he's a 3.2 college student athlete, football, on a full scholarship. Man, this blesses my life. I remember those days leaving my mentorship program, RIA, at Brooklyn Manor, wondering if any of these bad A kids get it. Also remember God whispering to me, I didn't tell you to save them, I told you to inspire them. Well, today, Damien told me that I did just that. The story continues. This was an exciting moment and appeared to be full circle for the many others who poured into Damien over the years. Now, jumping forward again, London and Damien, both from DC, ended up at 2 different schools in North Carolina and ended up becoming a couple at some point. London would focus on her education and was actively engaged in campus life. In recent times, the honor roll student had been elected to the event coordinator for the NCCU Social Work Society for the 2025-2026 academic year. Wanting to help others more in the future, she was working towards her degree in social work and also had aspirations to earn her Master's of Social Work degree, focusing on adolescent and mental health. London was also preparing to begin her internship at the Durham Center for Senior Life, a role that reflected her passion for serving others. On the other hand, it looks as if Damien's football plans in college did not plan out as well as his girlfriend's academic future. While the two of them were living together in Durham, the relationship, however, became sour, and London knew she was not happy in the relationship. Always being ahead of her years, she was making wise decisions to move on from Damien and was ready to start a new chapter without him. On Monday, August the 11th, 2025, London and her friend were at the apartment she was living in with her now estranged ex, preparing to move her things out. It was during the move that Damien was said to have showed up unexpectedly with evil intentions, and things turned bad quickly.
Durham police received a call from the Camden Point apartments on Monday afternoon. Cheyenne says London's ex-boyfriend, Damien Tinsley, who once played football at St. Aug's University, showed up unexpectedly. There was a brief argument. Then Cheyenne says Damien got physical with London. That's when London tried to call 911 before things took a turn.
She says her address. She's like, he has a gun. That's literally all she was able to say.
Cheyenne says Damien shot London before turning the gun and firing a shot towards her. Cheyenne says she wasn't hit and that Damien looked her in her eyes before taking his own life.
I'm on the phone with the police. I'm screaming. I'm like, somebody please help me.
Damien died at the scene and London later died at the hospital.
Sadly, London was the second child her mother lost to a crime after one of her older brothers was gunned down on November 12, 2019. He was only 21 years old at the time, and London was weeks away from her 21st birthday on September 5, 2025. The pain that their mother is currently going through, again, is heartbreaking, and no mother should have to keep burying their kids. London has such a bright future ahead of her, and what happened to her was senseless. An aunt wrote, "This morning, our family lost a beautiful soul in the most heartbreaking way. My sweet niece, who was full of kindness, laughter, and light, was taken from us far too soon. She had such a bubbly personality, always smiling, always finding ways to make others feel loved and special. Her life was a gift to everyone who knew her, and I will forever cherish the memories, the laughter, and the love she shared so freely." This crime has caused a ripple wave of pain from North Carolina to D.C. and left many in shock that a life so full of promise was snatched away before it really began. My heart goes out to London's family, who has to grieve this same pain all over again, and to her friend, who was not only shot at, but had to witness it all. This was a very tragic situation, and so many people are hurting behind it. I also want to extend my thoughts and prayers to every person impacted. London's life mattered, and she should still be here. Also, please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers as well for this family in their difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.